I'm just coming to you at the end of the day. It's been doing a little bit of gardening work. Always helps me think and clear my mind. Been reviewing a lot of the responses that I've been getting to the resistance type quiz. A lot of people, literally thousands of people, have written to me and responded to the feedback form at the end of the video there, telling me how much it's impacted them and how it's helped give them a good push forward. And I really appreciate hearing that from people. It's only been a few months since I've really been gradually putting that out there and seeing how it goes and building this community that I've always dreamed of building. Really proud of myself, and that's actually what I'm wanting to talk to you about, is shame and pride. So the reason I wanted to talk about shame is because I spent a lot of today and last night reading literally hundreds and hundreds of stories and responses, people telling me what's going on with their lives, looking for common threads, things that will give me the ability to report back to you, tell you my thoughts on these topics. And one of the main things I've come across is shame. And it's not literally shame. Like, people aren't saying, I feel shame, I feel shame, I feel shame. But people are saying things like, I feel stuck. People are saying things like, I feel like as soon as I peek my head out, somebody slams it back down. Somebody comes and knocks me over. People are saying they feel like they're not appreciated. They're in abusive situations, some people. And so I was really looking for the core commonality of all these things, and it dawned on me that shame is a really, really important core issue for all of these situations, whether you feel stuck or imprisoned in a way. We're going to look at shame as the primary culprit, and I'm going to explain that really, really well, I hope. And of course, if I don't, or I leave any points unanswered, don't hesitate to write a comment, either personally or in the thread here on Facebook. So the core thing to understand about shame is that it's a downward spiral. Because as soon as I do something that I'm not proud of or that I'm ashamed of, and it doesn't have to be that other people are shaming me, I can have my own internal standards, and I feel like I didn't rise up to what I was trying to do. For example, I've been trying to avoid these particular foods, and this is a real example for me today. I cheated, so I feel a little ashamed of that inside myself. Now, it's not something that I go around thinking, I feel this great shame, but it's something that makes me feel a little bit smaller. And when you feel small, it's just that next downward step is so much easier to take than the upward step, because when you feel small, it's easier to just continue to feel smaller and smaller, because you start to have that image of yourself. And if I feel small today, here I can do just this little thing, and who cares, I'm going to feel small. And all these negative things, the negative because they make you feel like you're not rising up to meet yourself, start to really take you down, and the further down you get in that cycle, the harder it is to rise back up. And primarily, I think the difficulty in rising back up is because you don't really know what to look for. People will always say, why doesn't that person just do it? Or why doesn't that person get out of that relationship? Or why doesn't that person just go out and stop feeling stuck, or tell off their boss, or whatever it is. It's really not about willpower. It's about pride. And the issue, of course, with pride is that so many of us, especially if we're on some kind of spiritual journey, might see pride a little bit as the enemy. And I mean, there is a pride that's an enemy, the hubris kind of pride, where you think you're better than everybody. But the simple pride of doing what you believe is good is invaluable in order to live your full potential in human nature. So if you're feeling stuck in any way, in any situation, you're feeling like you don't have the willpower to pursue something, you don't have the ability, it kind of comes back to micro commitments. So what is the smallest possible thing that I can do today that is totally doable, that will make me feel proud of myself? And maybe for me it's eat one less cracker. I mean, gotta take it baby steps. Nobody climbed Mount Everest in a day. I mean, it's cliche, but it's so true. When you're buried in a series of self-fulfilling shaming prophecies, then rising back up from that has to be a slow, consistent process. Every step that you take, it's going to get easier to take the next and easier to take the next. But if you don't start thinking, what's going to make me feel proud of myself today? And don't look at the giant things. I mean, don't try and accomplish the giant things today. Look at the giant things and say, what today is the tiniest step towards that giant thing that I can take today? What is the one thing that I can do today to get myself there? There's this great book called The One Thing. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. It helps. It's very practical about focusing on the one thing you need to do and getting things done. And remember, when you feel like you can't do something, it's the shame keeping you down. When you feel stuck, it's the shame keeping you stuck. And the only remedy for shame is pride. You have to do something that you feel proud about. And it might not make any sense, and the lazy part of your brain might not care to do it, but if you don't start, well, there's always tomorrow. No shame in that. Just remember, it's never too late. No matter how many years you've spent in a downward spiral, there's nothing stopping you from taking one step in any direction that can give you the pride that can help you really start to get out of those stuck places. Thanks for listening, and definitely want to hear your thoughts about these things, any stories you have to tell, whether inspirational stories or stories of places that you don't know what to do about, questions. We want to hear both. Your stories can inspire other people, can help other people. Thanks again.